What's up, everybody? So we got the GDP. It's Friday, the 26th of October. We got the GDP in. It came in better than expected. The consensus was it was going to be 3.3 or under. It came in at 3.5. Actually, the GDP looked pretty good for what I looked at it, but the actual looked 3.5. Real consumer spending was up to 4%. The GDP price index was at 1.7%. The consensus on that was 2%. So the GDP quarter over quarter has dropped a little bit, but it's not as it's not as bad as it was. In other news, Europe tanked, probably waiting on us to tank. Amazon lowered their guidance. Amazon was down like 10% last night. At one point, it came back to 7%. I know it recovered a little bit. The futures ever since the GDP came out, they've improved about 50 points. The Dow was down almost a full percent. It's now 62% down. So it doesn't look like this is going to be such a bloodbath today. Although there is still a lot of bad news. Google and Amazon both disappointed on their earnings. Both of those companies tanked. Both of those are the FANG stocks. But Snap lost 2 million subscribers, and the hog industry worldwide is being slaughtered by trade war. So that's not a good thing at all. But so the hogs. So GM is being shadowed by Tesla. GM is being shadowed by Tesla. Also wants Trump administration to back a national electric vehicle program. So there's more of a push now. I mean, this is just an article. This is just one article of GM wanting to expand or trying to push for that. Anyway, that's what they want. Will they get it? I don't know. Google paid $90 million to the Android creator Android Rubin after claims that he caressed a female staffer into performing oral sex. The tech giant axed dozens of officials, a dozen of executives for other claims. So they're having a sex scandal in Google. I guess that they were being run like a 1980s company, and they're trying to transition into a tech company. But I mean, I don't know, dude. I also saw something today where Google. Some guy was recommending that you take Google and Facebook out of your FANG ETFs and replace them with Microsoft, and that's it. So he said keep Amazon, keep Apple, keep Netflix, add Microsoft. So he's looking for the man. He's getting rid of FANG and going to the man. Do I think that you should take out Google? Absolutely not. Should you? Maybe, but I wouldn't take out Google. I guess it's different for FANG because you're looking for industry growers, but I think Google's the best one. But Amazon looks like it's going to tank today. Same with Google. The S&P or the Nasdaq should really take a drop today, just based on those earnings. All the FANGs is in the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq blew up. Everyone knows that the Nasdaq is looking for a massive. It's the tech company. It's the tech composite, but yeah, we're down across the board here. Chipotle increased sales. Marlboro Axe flavored cigarettes. U.S. Treasury prices tick higher. People are looking for safety and volatility. So the markets look dangerous right now. They look scary. Obviously, we all know this. I thought that if they came through and that GDP missed, I thought that there was really not going to be much of a bottom. If GDP came down today and it was like 3.1 or even 2, then I think that we would have had a serious problem on our hands, like a serious one, where we're talking about like 1,000-point down day, and then we would have had the weekend to sit on it. So I don't think I think GDP beating is obviously a very good thing, and I thought that because consumer confidence was up or consumer spending was up, then that means that this housing bubble that this guy was talking about last night isn't going to work. We never posted that video. So, me and the guy we were doing this with said that we were going to do a GDP video. We ended up not doing it because at the end of the day we didn't know, and we weren't just gonna say something that we didn't think was right. And we read something. This guy wrote out this whole long thing. He did a really good job. Wisdoms _ Sun This guy did a whole thing. I mean, he ended up being wrong, but dude, I've never read such a comprehensive thing about the GDP before. And another thing we learned is that the 1920 crash on Wikipedia is wrong. That is a bad summary of what happened in 1920. There is a book out there. It's called oh, I forget what it's called. It's like a 100-page book. What the hell is it called? I don't know. I'll think about it. What the hell is that called? Anyway, it does a much better job, and it's going to rain in the Northeast. So if you wanted to learn about the 1920 crash, this is what that guy was calling for, and this is how close it seemed like we were from that. So, what the fuck? It's a short book, too. It's not a hard read. It's really easy. They go through it. And basically what they were talking about is when inventory went up, people sat on their hands, and it just killed them like that. Killed them softly. But, anyway, the GDP came through. They beat. They aren't going to tank. That's all good news. But the market still should go down today. I mean, will it go down? Will it not go down? The market should go down today. There was a lot of bad news yesterday. Amazon said they weren't going to grow at the same rate. Google came out. Not only did they fire a bunch of executives and say that they're going to try to change their organization, which is what they're trying to do, right? They're trying to clean house and change the vibe there. But they also disappointed on their earnings. And Snapchat lost 2 million subscribers. That was in line to what should have happened. Snapchat's burning through money. Google paying the guy $9 million in the golden parachute claim. I mean, that's just typical. I think that's even kind of an old story. They said it was the last installment to it, but it's whatever. The futures have been up since the GDP got released, but yeah, so they're at 150 now. They keep climbing. The Nasdaq futures are only 1.8% down now. I don't know what they were earlier. I was looking at the Dow. But the Nasdaq is looking like it's going to open almost 2% down. And, yeah, honestly, I think Amazon has a price target of around 1,400. Canopy's down at 38. So, Square's still down at 70. Goldman Sachs is at 211. Everything's down this month. Some of the biggest ones, 17%. Netflix is down 17% this month. They killed their earnings, 18% really. 28%. Nvidia is down 28% this month. 24%. Square's down 24%. AMD's down 38%. So you got really big numbers on that, and it just looks like we had a tough October. Honestly, if everything goes well from here, this was actually a really healthy thing to see that it held up from here. But you see, you're starting to get that bullish click. But I still think today and maybe Monday are bearish. We need more good news. We still missed earnings, but somehow I have to be convinced that I have to form a bull trap here, and I'm not totally convinced yet, which makes me think that we're still going down a little bit. But if everything holds up, then we should be fine. But anyway, I want to see what happens when things open. I think that's going to be interesting to see how this moves. I'm really expecting, dude, if Amazon isn't down 15% today, then that's kind of a joke, because they're overexpanded, dude. There was not a lot of strength on that chart. Dude, if that's any other company, it's falling from the skies. But chances are it won't, and chances are it will probably finish closer to positive. But which is really kind of crazy when you were thinking about what I was thinking about last night. I was thinking that this was going to be completely bearish. It was gonna collapse. I was thinking that we might actually remember October 26th, the Friday in October, where the market just absolutely tanked on a bad GDP report. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Looks like consumer spending was up, and that drove the boat right right up the wall. So now looking at it, Nasdaq's kind of in the same spot. I mean, we're inching, but no one wants to make the full-fledged bet that we're coming fully back here. So that's the morning show. Usually I get more views than this. Looks like people didn't even want to open up their accounts today, but people didn't even want to look today. So that's what's going to happen when it's, you know, people didn't even want to look today. That's how bad today's outlook was. Is people didn't want to look. I didn't want to look. You got up thinking that it might just be the end. But yeah, Boeing beat. They're down almost 1.5%. Visa's down. This is all pre-market. Visa's down 2.5%. Square's down almost 4% pre-market. Netflix is down 4% pre-market. Amazon's down 7%. Google is down. I thought I saw it was at 5%. Google year to date's only at 4%, so I guess their growth is kind of falling off. But that's why they're firing all their executives. Anyway, that's the morning show. I would wait until open, but there'd be a lot of empty time on this, and you know, if you're watching this in the future, you already know what happened here, so there's not a reason for me to do that. So I appreciate you watching. If you're watching and you did watch this long, like and subscribe. But other than that, I'm looking at a swing and open. I'm looking at a lot of volatility. I'm seeing Netflix dropping down to like 11%. It should go down to like 11% here, and honestly, from there we'll see. But I think the whole market here is gonna come down. It's gonna bounce, and it's gonna keep going down. But it just did that. But I don't think the GDP could beat up. You know, we have to see how that works. And it pulled up the futures a little bit. We aren't going to have the housing bubble, even though the housing numbers are down. But it doesn't look like we'll head into the bubble. Anyway, I said I was going to end it. I'm going to end it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. This is the Dan Dunn Show. We'll be back at 11 o'clock.